First-round playoff upset ever 2 years ago, and again eliminated in the first round last season. There was talk of a three-peat after losing a game to the Kings. There was talk of another first-round collapse. Talk of another choke. But the Sonics overcame all doubters from the outside and the inside. The team with the second-best record in the league finally reached the second round. But waiting for them are the two-time defending world champions. Champions who are playoff tested with a quiet confidence. The Rockets have shown that more than ability is needed to advance in the playoffs. What is needed comes from inside.
This is the NBA on NBC. The 1996 NBA playoffs.
Key Arena in Seattle is the site of Game 1 of this second-round Western Conference playoff series between the defending champion Houston Rockets and the Seattle Sonics. On one side, the defending champions, the Rockets, having eliminated the Lakers. On the other, a huge sigh of relief. Seattle has advanced to the second round for the first time in 3 years, and we anticipate a great start to what should be a terrific series. Hi, everyone. I'm Greg Gumbel. He's Bill Walton. These Houston Rockets have won the championship and then defended their title successfully as they look for a third in a row. Keep this in mind. They have won 9 straight postseason series. Despite the many injuries this season, they have still come through very well. 157 player games missed with one constant in the middle, and that's the dream.
Hakeem Olajuwon has just been absolutely magnificent. What he did against the Lakers, we've come to expect that on a daily and consistent basis. The numbers tell part of the story of what Hakeem did down the stretch in each of the key deciding games. But whenever you win a series, whenever you win a championship, you got to have the support of the perimeter guys, the role players, and Hakeem certainly had those. Chucky Brown and Robert Horry were magnificent in the closure. They destroyed the spirit of the Lakers. The Lakers, a surging team, were just beaten badly, dispirited, if you will. The Houston Rockets, they're ready, and they're going to need to be because they're playing a very good and confident, relaxed team, Seattle.
You bet. The Sonics are a team, sorry, Chicago fans, the last 4 years have the best winning percentage in the NBA, and when it comes crunch time, they have 2 superstars. It is no secret where they're going to go to the ball.
It's better to be simple and predictable rather than unpredictable and versatile. I think over the last couple of years we had too many egos and too many people that I was trying to satisfy. And this year we said from the very beginning it's Gary and Sean. And I would say 90% of the time in close games, that's where the ball went. And in this series, that's where the ball will be going.
Keep it simple. Get the ball to your best players all the time. Let them make it the plays, and they have done that. Shawn Kemp has just been phenomenal this season against the Houston Rockets. The numbers, magnificent. Gary Payton, even better. The Seattle Sonics have beaten the Houston Rockets more than 2 straight years. Houston has had no success. But it's going to eventually come down to half-court offense, which the playoffs always is. And Seattle, they need to find a go-to guy who can deliver. So much of Seattle's success over the years has been built on the failures of others. That great defense causing the turnovers. Houston, though, a championship team, will not fail. Seattle, they'll have to beat them.
We said at the beginning, the Rockets have won 9 straight series in the postseason. Last team to bet them, Seattle in 1993. We'll have the starting lineups in the opening tip when we come back to Key Arena for Game 1 in just a moment. Front, Hakeem Olajuwon, joined by two guys who had terrific finishes to the series against the Lakers, Robert Horry and Chucky Brown. And the head coach for the Houston Rockets is Rudy Tomjanovich, the all-time winningest coach in Houston Rockets history. And now the starting lineup for the Seattle Sonics, 64-18 on the regular season in the backcourt. Gary Payton and Hersey Hawkins. Hawkins shooting at a 50% clip from behind the three-point line. Up front, Irvin Johnson, flanked by Sean Kemp and Detlef Schrempf. And the coach of the Sonics is George Karl. Also with us this afternoon, working the sidelines, is Hannah Storm. Let's check in with Hannah.
Well, great fatigue may play a big factor in this game, particularly on the side of the Rockets, who just finished their last game 38 hours ago and had a traveling odyssey trying to get here from Houston last night. Their charter plane did not have enough fuel. They had to stop in Salt Lake City, refuel their plane, and in the process also had a false landing. The bottom line was about a 6.5-hour plane ride. Most of them did not get to bed until 3 a.m. Houston time. Most of them told me they're quite fatigued. In addition, of course, Clyde Drexler playing with that stiff neck, which he said is still bothersome, but at least now he can move his head from side to side. And Mark Bryant, the hamstring injury, keeping him to only 8 minutes in the final game. He's been riding his bike up to game time just to try to keep that thing warm. Greg?
All right, Hannah, thank you. The Rockets making their 11th playoff appearance in 12 years, 15-0 in a series if they win game one.
The keys for Houston to get a tough road victory, and they're one of the best in basketball at that, transition defense. You got to slow down and compete with Gary Payton. Houston needs to play with a sense of urgency in today's game.
Robert Horry kicks it back outside. Kenny Smith to Clyde Drexler for three. And just like that, the Rockets are on board with a 3-0 lead.
Come out, you make your first shot, make it a three, they've got to chase you the rest of the way. That reminds me of Larry Bird's approach to basketball.
Gary Payton up top. Has Smith in the air, gets inside, Schrempf for three.
Good containing defense by Houston. Drexler was the only Rocket not out before the game shooting. Treatment in the locker room.
Loose ball in the backcourt, tracked down by Kenny Smith. Olajuwon for his first shot of the game. And the Rockets are 2 for 2 in the 5-0 lead.
Critical for Houston to take the crowd out. This is one of the most vocal and supportive crowds in the entire NBA. A beautiful new arena.
Sean Kemp breaks free on the inside. Sean Kemp averaging 17 points a game in the postseason so far. The Sonics won 4 out of 4 against the Rockets during the regular season. Horry going to drive. And the goaltend on Irvin Johnson.
Seattle, along with the Chicago Bulls, are the best at rotating back after they double team a top offensive player on one side when the ball is swung, clearly swiped off the glass. Legal in the Olympic competition this summer, but not in the NBA playoffs.
Shot clock is down to 6. Schrempf across the lane for the left hook.
The forward matchup in this series, Greg, will be critical. Schrempf and Kemp can both score. They can put it on the floor. They're creators.
Olajuwon. And out of the corner, Kenny Smith. Around and out.
Good ball movement. You get Kenny Smith off. He was terrific in the closure against the Lakers.
And Gary Payton just pops a 3, and we're tied at 7. The lob for Drexler. Nice job by Clyde Drexler.
Following up on Hannah's report about Clyde, I was with him in the locker room before the game. He says, hey, Bill, it's playoff time. We just got to bring everything we have, battle the fatigue, battle the injuries.
And find a way to stop Gary Payton. Another 3, and Seattle leads 10-9.
Houston hasn't shown, or excuse me, Seattle hasn't shown that somebody has to be double teamed down there.
And Robert Horry for 3, and both these teams have come out firing.
Greg, over the years, as we've done so many Houston Rocket games, you can sense when they have ultimate respect for their opponents because they have the great starts as they've had today.
Officials for today's game, Ronnie Nunn, Mike Mathis, and Terry Durham. And Mike Mathis blows the whistle to stop play and calls a foul on Chucky Brown. Houston 5 out of 6 from the floor. Seattle 4 of 5. And Drexler with the steal. Up ahead for Kenny Smith, Shrimp back, and the dish to Horry.
The athleticism of all the perimeter guys, and that doesn't even talk about Hakeem and what he brings, but you get Horry and Drexler in the passing lane, much the way the great Laker team with Worthy and Byron Scott and Norm Nixon from the 80s.
Robert Horry has 7 first-quarter points. Detlef Shrimp sneaks inside for 2.
Twice now, Detlef has come across the lane, and eyes all the time. Horry's just stroking it. What he has done is a disastrous opening weekend in Los Angeles last weekend to come out in game 3 and 4, and then today in the opening period. Terrific.
Horry averaged 11.5 points a game in the Lakers series. He has 10 of Houston's 17 here in the first. Payton again. Gary Payton. He has 8 of Seattle's 14.
Both teams playing perfect, almost flawless basketball.
Olajuwon to the baseline outside. Horry open for another 3. This one doesn't go. Chucky Brown's tap, no. And the loose ball foul goes against Seattle. An emotional Chucky Brown.
Chucky Brown, a guy who gets no respect. This is a guy who gets regularly bad-mouthed, has to play against all the top power forwards in the NBA, most of them in the Western Conference. He's got one of them in Sean Kemp. He's had Barkley. He's had Karl Malone.
Hersey Hawkins with the steal, 3-on-1. He left the ball behind. And kicks it to Payton out of the corner. Payton again. And Horry with the rebound.
Horry's shot blocking was superb against the Lakers. Intimidated the Sonics that time.
On the baseline, Horry. Robert Horry. He has 12. And the Rockets lead 19-14.
And Houston Rocket fans, they've got to be ecstatic, but they wonder, Robert, where is this all season long? You're talking about a totally different player.
Irvin Johnson, an air ball.
That's the wrong Irvin Johnson shooting that shot.
And we have a pause in the action with 6:39 to play here in the first. Both teams shooting pretty well. The Rockets better than Seattle right now.
And 3 steals per game. Oh.
A nice lob for Clyde Drexler, and the Rockets lead at 21-14. He has 12. Drexler has 7.
Give a lot of credit to the Rockets and their pride, the fact they're overcoming the fatigue, the wear and tear of that emotional Lakers series, the horrible travel that they had.
Hersey Hawkins with a 3. 21-17.
Houston continuing to double team in the low post. Seattle hasn't shown that they need to be double teamed. I mean, Kemp hasn't gone off yet. Shrimp hasn't gone off. And you certainly don't need to double down on Irvin Johnson.
They leave Horry alone for a 3. And he's too strong on that one. And Horry bats it out of bounds.
Robert Horry was talking about feeding the post and dumping it in so well. As he also shows that he can pop that ball away. Hakeem Olajuwon, one of the masters at that. But Horry played center in college at Alabama.
And Kemp for Shrimp. And Shrimp fouled by Olajuwon. Shrimp with a good job of leaning into Hakeem before he got the ball away.
This is a 2-time most valuable player in these NBA playoffs. Hakeem Olajuwon, the only game that the Lakers won. Oh, that's...
And now Drexler fouls Shrimp.
Well, this is a terrific move by Detlef Shrimp. See him keep both hands on the ball until the very end. Now the Rockets are going to call for an offensive foul, but when you make the spin with two hands on the ball, it's very difficult to make that offensive foul call.
Horry with a hip check worthy of Stanley Cup playoff action. Detlef Schrempf way off on his first free throw.
Detlef in the first round played well, good consistent offense, and they need offense from Detlef. They don't get much from their starting center, Irvin Johnson. Hawkins needs a lot of screens and double teams to get his own offense, but Detlef is one of those guys that could create his own shot.
He has 5 here in the first quarter, 5:20 to play in the first. Rockets by 3.
Here's the double team. This is when Houston has
Chucky Brown right down the lane, uncontested.
Every game we see Chucky Brown play, he plays better and better. And making a play like that, if they do that consistently, that'll take a key weapon away from Seattle.
Hawkins on the baseline for the short pop. 5 for Hawkins. Houston 23-20.
Certainly no feeling out period in this game. Both teams have it right from the start.
Schrempf lost it. Payton picks it up. Payton now going one-on-one into the lane and scores.
This is where Payton separates himself from so many of the point guards. His ability to score inside as a small guy. He's not tall. He's not a big power point guard.
Chucky Brown fouled as they went over to double team Hakeem. Let's go back to Gary Payton.
Payton has a finisher. He can back you down. So many times, he's just bigger and stronger and has a greater level to elevate his sense of excitement, his sense of explosion out there. I believe, and both coaches concur with this, Rudy T and George Karl, that eventually in the close stretches of this series, Clyde Drexler is going to have to be on Gary Payton.
As Chucky Brown shoots 2 and misses the first. You saw there Shawn Kemp has drawn 2 personal fouls, and he will now take a seat on the bench as number 10, Nate McMillan, 10-year veteran out of North Carolina State, comes off the bench for George Karl and the Sonics.
It's been a tough playoff so far for Shawn Kemp, a 4-time All-Star, but who has not played well the last month of the season and certainly only had the 1 good game at Sacramento in the closer Thursday night.
Payton. And Brown with the rebound. 2-point Rockets lead. Chucky Brown again. And again, the opportunity created by the double team on Olajuwon.
But Houston doesn't, Seattle doesn't have a guy who can guard Hakeem.
Schrempf. And overshot the basket.
The presence of Hakeem. Detlef is really looking every time, not so much at the basket, but at Hakeem Olajuwon.
Hawkins with the steal.
Transition defense for Houston.
And the foul on Kenny Smith.
Hakeem will get no credit for anything in the statistics right here, except for a little air ball rebound. But he forced that total miss. And that last play for Seattle was a perfect example of how they play. Sam Cassell in for the first time. But create the turnovers, get in transition, and get Gary Payton in the open court.
Sam Perkins off the bench into the basket for 2. Also in the Seattle lineup, Vincent Askew for the first time today. And timeout's about to be called by the Rockets. Stops the clock with 3:14 to play. The fans on their feet. It's a 2-point game. Houston in the lead, 26-24. We're coming back to Key Arena in just a moment. You're watching the NBA on NBC. Conversation with George about that yesterday.
My feeling right now is the pressure for me is done, and that was winning. You know, our anger and our pressure was the failures that we had. And to make sure those failures were turned into a learning experience, a positive existence. And I'm not sure that we've totally done that, but I think we've done the first step of forgetting about it. What happens now, you know, where we go, this is going to be a great series. I have a feeling it's going to be a long series. And I think no matter what decisions are made in July, everyone now on this basketball team knows it's done a good job, and hopefully it will turn into a great job.
One thing's for sure, the players say George Karl's a lot easier to get along with.
It was nice for Seattle to get over that hump, go down there and hammer in Sacramento. The numbers, career as a coach, but George told us that, hey, it's not just beating Sacramento, it's setting higher goals. And he said it's how we beat Sacramento. After they lost game 2, he said, look, let's go down to Sacramento and win both and put all this stuff behind us and set high goals, because Seattle is truly one of the teams that can represent the West in the NBA Finals.
George Karl having a conversation with Mike Mathis over a whistle that was blown and no foul was called. 3:02 to play, 4 seconds on the Houston shot clock. Drexler casts off, and the tap no good by Horry. Taps again before McMillan comes away with it.
Poor defensive rebounding by Seattle. Not getting the forwards off the board, but they're thinking about Hakeem.
Mario Elie now on Payton, who drives by and kicks it out.
That's the closeout on Perkins that they have to have.
And Elie with the strip of the basketball, and back come the Rockets.
See, when they take Urban Johnson out, now Hakeem just can't roam because Sam Perkins can stroke it.
Drexler with the offensive rebound, and Cassell short. Sonics looking for the tie or better here.
Scoring guards in the low post, Payton and Vincent Askew.
Sonics by 1. Payton has 13.
All the Houston people said that Gary Payton is the key. You got to keep him under control. The Rockets have not done that.
Trying to get the ball in the middle, the save by the Sonics. And the bad cross-court pass picked off by Drexler. Cassell knocked to the floor, no call. Back come the Sonics, 4-on-2. Shrimp. And Payton has the loose ball.
Transition defense for the Rockets. You can't wait for the whistle to blow. It's not going to happen.
Down to 1:15 to play for the quarter.
Mismatch inside.
And the foul on Cassell. Frank Brickowski off the bench for Seattle.
Bringing in more guys, George Karl, skilled players who can all pass, shoot, handle the ball, run plays, call plays, step to the outside, Brickowski and Perkins, post up big guys. This versatile Sonic team, so difficult to match up against. And that's why the transition defense is so important for Houston. This guy Brickowski, we talk about the chemistry additions that George Karl made with Hawkins and Brickowski. Brickowski, such a character in the locker room, keeps everybody loose.
Sam Perkins hits the first one as Mark Bryant comes off the Houston bench. There's Frank Brickowski in his 12th season out of Penn State University.
And he's not just a big bruising guy. This is a player who is skilled, had some good scoring years with Milwaukee and San Antonio early on in his career.
Perkins hits them both. 29-26 Sonics.
There's that double team trap. Now you've got to attack, which Chucky Brown did perfectly.
Drexler for 3. And a good job by Mark Bryant keeping it alive, but the outlet pass picked off by Drexler.
Never throw the outlet down the middle of the floor.
Cassell down the lane for 2. Down to the last 45 seconds of the period. Sonics by 1.
2 for 1 Seattle. Go quickly, get the last shot.
And another takeaway. Horry to Bryant. You see the game clock. There's 9 seconds left on the shot clock. And now down to 5.
Ryan playing within himself.
Drexler. And Payton has it. And the Sonics will hold for the last shot.
Mario Elie very frustrated and not moving toward the ball. Need a better team attitude.
Down to 1 second, and Payton finally caps off. First quarter, which saw both teams shoot well. Robert Horry with 12 to lead the way for Houston. Gary Payton with 13. Game 1 of this Western Conference semifinal series. The first quarter is complete. Seattle leads at 29-28. We're coming back for the second quarter in just a moment. The Key Arena jam-packed, and Brickowski held him to a promise that he made about cutting all his hair off, and Brickowski was the instigator in this scene. And we asked George Karl about it.
He did cut my hair. No, I got kind of, I think if I got a lawyer, I could have gotten out of the case, because about 3 years ago, I opened my mouth once and said if you broke the longest winning streak in Sonic history, I would shave my head. And so we did that this season. And that was 3 years ago. And they said, well, you said 3 years ago, it applies now. And I think if I got a lawyer, I could have gotten out of that. But then they tied me up, where was it, in Cleveland. And I had to concede that I would agree to do whatever they wanted to my head. They didn't shave it. They gave me a fade. It's called a fade.
Elephants and players have great memories.
Tying the coach up and shaving his head. I don't know what a fade is. Mine's a wash and wear, but Seattle's penetration and dish offense is hurting the Rockets right now. You got to keep players in front of you. Make them beat you with tough one-on-one shots from the perimeter. Hakeem, just one shot in the first quarter. That was in the first minute of play. The Sonics have done their job. George Karl telling us yesterday that he's not going to go with the Lakers strategy of playing Hakeem one-on-one. He's going to double team him and make him give it up.
Sonics lead 32-28.
Now the Rockets need offense of their own.
Cassell for 3.
One of the few times you'll see Houston playing without Clyde Drexler, without Hakeem Olajuwon. That puts the burden on Sam Cassell, Mario Elie, and Horry as finishers.
McMillan across the lane. Got the basket and the foul.
Perkins will be a huge factor in this series. He knows how to play against tough big guys, starting way back in his North Carolina days in college. He went to the same college that head coach George Karl went to, so they've been schooled in the fundamentals by Dean Smith. And who can forget the great success that Perkins had against Ralph Sampson in the NCAA games almost 15 years ago now.
Robert Horry drew that foul. It's his first. He's on the bench now. Perkins makes it a three-point play. He has 7, and the Sonics lead 35-31. Mario Elie for Chucky Brown. Around and out. McMillan with the rebound. Not one starter on the floor now for the Houston Rockets.
Well, when Hakeem goes to the bench, it's so much easier to control the defensive boards. You don't have to block out with 2 guys. Now the Rocket forwards not having that edge that they had in the opening quarter.
Payton double teamed and a jump ball. Let's remind you, survive in advance time for some tomorrow. The drama of the NBA playoffs continues with a triple header starting at noon Eastern time with NBA Showtime. And then, do or die, NBC presents the final game of the opening round series between the Atlanta Hawks and the Indiana Pacers. .05 to play in the first half. And Sam Mack cuts the Seattle lead to 2.
Mack was not productive in the LA Lakers series. Not very many minutes, just 6 minutes per game, but he can fill it up. Payton doing a nice job of trying to create some offense.
9:45 to play in the first half. McMillan. So we'll have a stoppage of play with 9:37 to play in the first half.
Kinder, gentler version than the coach who arrived here 4 years ago. Used to be quite an authoritarian in the huddles for Seattle. Now it's a whole different story. He borrows from business principles and actually asks for input from his players, particularly Nate McMillan, who often has to remind the coach that he's not a coach, he's actually a player. If they're having a problem with a particular defensive strategy, he'll often turn to Nate or even to Gary Payton for advice during the huddles. It seems to work out well and is indicative of the fact that he has a much more comfortable relationship with his players at this point. Craig?
All right, Hannah, thank you. Sam Mack on the miss. 9:20 to play in the first. If someone had told you you'd get to this point of the game and both Sean Kemp and Hakeem Olajuwon each would only have 2 points, you'd say, hey, you've got earthquake fever.
You're saying that both coaches have got their game plan together and the players are following that game plan. Seattle is rotating magnificently on the weak side to close out on spot-up shooters like Ellie.
McMillan. And Askew with the rebound. And that's tapped out of bounds by Cassell.
When you have centers that can shoot the ball and handle the ball, as Hakeem checks back in and Kemp. A couple of long-time permanent all-stars, really, both of those guys, but Perkins to the bench. Perkins, Kemp, Brickowski, they can all handle it and shoot it from the perimeter. That allows guards to post up.
Askew gets nothing but the backboard. 8:40 to play. The amazing thing about Olajuwon and Kemp, they have each taken just one shot. Olajuwon off the baseline for his second, way short.
Hakeem telling Hannah how he wasn't tired before the game. I think that'll work in his favor once he gets his rhythm going.
And Kemp now with 4. 37-33 Sonics.
Sean Kemp, a terrific game, 23 points in the closer at Sacramento. When he goes to the hoop without double clutching, so much more effective for Kemp.
Triple team on Mark Bryant.
Look at the arms in the passing lane.
Cassell. And nobody there for the rebound for Houston.
Against this Seattle defense, you got to move it quicker and be more authoritative with your offensive moves. There'll be no question of what you're going to do.
McMillan, too strong, and that's out of bounds off the Rockets.
Sean Kemp in the low post, isolated, just goes right to it. So many times you can force him to double clutch, and that's when he'll throw up some wild stuff. But Sean Kemp that time strong to the hoop. Sam Mack not getting the job done on a weak side defensive glass. Get a rebound.
We've come up on 7.5 to play in the first half.
Seattle's doubling up the Rockets on the glass, 16-8. The presence of Hakeem.
Hawkins. And Hakeem with the rebound. Here come the Rockets pushing it.
This matchup of Nate McMillan on Sam Cassell will be critical.
Mark Bryant. Wild shot. Good defense by Kemp. Here come the Sonics. With a 4-point lead, looking for more and a blocking foul on Mario Ellie.
Houston arguing calls, all their players, Hakeem, Rudy T, this jump hook along the baseline, the defense just standing there. That's what the home court advantage is all about. It's what Seattle's played for as the best team in basketball the last 4 years, greater than 55 wins every year.
Rockets feeling victimized by the officiating now, but they get a call going the other way. The foul is on Frank Brickowski, and we take time with just under 7 minutes to play in the second quarter. Rockets by 4. Sal lost it. Ellie out of the corner for 3. In it. Mario Ellie.
Lakers guarded now by Dale Davis. The pass out to Steve Smith.
At the buzzer, yes! Roll the highlight reel. This place is going crazy. Unbelievable! How sweet was that? Welcome to the playoffs.
If I could read.
The floor, A guy who clearly, when we spoke with him yesterday, was disappointed that he didn't make the U.S. Olympic team, Shawn Kemp.
I was surprised. Shawn Kemp has played beautifully. He's done everything to get to that level. Dominated the Western Conference over the last couple of years. This dream team, though, coming up in '96, that's going to be ranked right up there with the '60 Olympic team and the '92 one from Barcelona as one of the great teams of all time.
Mark Bryant had it blocked.
The Rockets, Rudy T, Bryant, they're complaining. Mark Bryant's got to go around guys. You can't just jump over them and try to go through them.
Shooting way down for both teams here in the second half compared to their first team as Brickowski misses the shot and complains. Cassell brings the Rockets back.
Look at Nate McMillan's defensive ability.
Olajuwon and Hakeem with just 4 points today.
Speaking of the Olympics, you know, you got Jordan, you got Hakeem Olajuwon. How their games have changed over the years. A couple years ago, that would have been a violent slam dunk. Now it's just finesse, timing, positioning.
Sam Cassell upset with the call from Mike Mathis. That's number 2 on Cassell. Let's go back to Hakeem.
Brickowski goes for the steal. I don't like that kind of defense. That just gives a wide open opportunity. Seattle coming right back with the pick and roll. We're going to see so much of that tomorrow with Stockton and Malone and Sabonis and Strickland. Fundamental basketball. You got to have the skill at this level. It's not just about your body.
Tomorrow, Bill, Hannah, and I will be in Salt Lake City for Game 5 between the Utah Jazz and the Portland Trail Blazers. The game to determine who advances from that twosome. Kemp, still left hand. Gets his own rebound and goes up again with the left hand too strong.
Terrific defense by Hakeem Olajuwon.
That's off Cassell and out of bounds to the Sonics.
Nate McMillan, who George Karl feels and longtime Sonic people feel is just the real glue to this team along with Sam Perkins. He has taken Sam Cassell out of this game in the early going.
Trent looking down low to Shawn Kemp, batted away and out of bounds by Cassell, and 4 seconds remain on the shot clock as Gary Payton comes back into the game.
Payton with an outstanding opening quarter. This defensive matchup, though, just 4 seconds on the shot clock. Rudy T having Hakeem guard Kemp and Bryant on Perkins. Very solid.
Shrimp. The Sonics had missed 9 of their last 10 shots from the floor before that. Seattle with a 4-point lead.
But you don't have that sense that Seattle feels any of this pressure right now. They're feeling comfortable and confident. They're in their rhythm. They're playing their game.
Horry open for 3. That's the shot the Rockets have to hit as long as they're doubling down on Olajuwon in the middle.
And George Karl was telling us before the game how we got to get to Hakeem early. Don't let him get a look. Don't even let him receive that ball until all he can do is throw it up there. Kemp, wild.
Cassell, 1-on-3, stops at the top of the key and misses the 3-pointer.
That's just frustration by Sam Cassell trying to take the game over. First time he hasn't had Nate McMillan on him.
McMillan now on the bench as Payton is back on the floor. Shrimp, top of the key for 3. And Drexler at the rebound.
I wouldn't double team on Sam Perkins when you got Mark Bryant guarding him.
Olajuwon and missed the layup.
Hakeem has no offensive rhythm. He's not getting enough touches, not enough offensive opportunities.
Payton is alone for 3. And Cassell outlets for Drexler. And the Rockets grab a lead, 40-39.
Smart play, Shawn Kemp. He's got 2 fouls, just let him go. Don't try to make a super play, stay in the game.
Percy Hawkins out of the corner. And that's out of bounds to Houston. And Rudy Tomjanovich wants timeout as we take a look at Clyde Drexler giving the Rockets a 1-point lead. 3 minutes, 32 seconds to play in the first half in a seesaw battle that now finds Houston on top by 1. You're watching the NBA on NBC.
Look at the field goal shooting. First quarter, both teams lighting it up. Came out with great execution. Second quarter, significant drop-off. Now, Seattle, they have gone way down. It's got bored that down to a half-court game. The Rockets are not turning the ball over, so the Sonics are having to try to score in the half-court. That's always been their problem.
Clyde Drexler on the inside, and now the Rockets with a three-point lead. Talk about turning it over. The Sonics forced 20 a game against the Sacramento Kings.
Opponent selection, Greg. That's the Sacramento Kings.
3:05 to play in the first half. Payton open for three. We're tied at 42.
At this level, which is the highest in the entire world, you cannot automatically double team, guys.
Olajuwon has to force between the double team.
Hakeem has nothing going today. The Sonics doing a fabulous job.
Kemp.
You can't allow Shawn Kemp to get that kind of position. Hakeem's got to do a better job denying him position, work harder before his man gets the ball.
Mark Bryant works his way inside, and a jump ball forced by Shrimp.
Again, we see Seattle's defense, the strength of their team, what keys everything for them. The ball grabbed by Detlef Schrempf just before Mark Bryant was able to push him off.
Hannah Storm says George Karl has told Shawn Kemp he now wants him on Robert Horry out there.
Well, he doesn't want him picking up fouls on Hakeem Olajuwon.
That's kicked out of bounds by Kemp.
Mark Bryant was so successful against the Lakers in most of the games they played. He only played 8 minutes in the closing game. He's got to do more. I mean, Chucky Brown was superb in the early going, but they need Bryant's size and strength and points.
And now Kemp is rotated over onto Mark Bryant.
See how they get back. Most teams don't rotate as quick.
Oh, what a drive by Sam Cassell. No call on the bump with Payton, who takes it all the way to the basket, blocked by Olajuwon. Back comes Drexler. Flips for Horry to Mark Bryant. The toughest shots to make.
Mark was telling us, Bryant, before the game, that hamstring is a little tight. This pace is Seattle's game, up and down.
We are tied at 44 as we come up on a minute 20 to play in the first half. Horry down the lane and drew the foul before the block. Foul will be on Detlef Schrempf.
The rotation,
number one on Schrempf.
Excuse me, Greg. The rotation by Seattle is just terrific. Houston moves the ball as well as any team in basketball. It's their teamwork, their chemistry that makes them the world champion. Of course, with Hakeem and Clyde Drexler, but they're not getting the open looks they normally get.
Horry misses the first. And Kenny Smith replaces Sam Cassell.
And that's Seattle's trademark. Double team on the ball and still get back. And that's why Houston does not have success against the Rockets. Hakeem might want to think about playing some high post. Come out on the floor a little bit to get some single coverage.
Horry missed them both. A minute 10 to play. We're tied at 44.
So many guys who can create for Seattle.
Schrempf going to work on Mark Bryant. Shot clock is at 4. And now Hawkins under the gun. No, he didn't get it off. So a little too much one-on-one basketball.
Detlef Schrempf had made up his mind. George Karl in the past would go ballistic here, but he's so calm. He's letting the players play now. Obviously, the ball's still in Hersey Hawkins' hands when the shot clock goes off.
And a conversation over at the scorer's table. While they sort out what's happening, we'll remind you that on Sunday, tomorrow, Harrison Ford and Tommy Lee Jones star in the network premiere, The Fugitive. You seen that, Bill?
Absolutely.
A great motion picture. Sunday at 8:30, 7:30 Central, here on NBC.
I see every Harrison Ford movie.
You are The Fugitive. 52 seconds to play in the first half. And we're tied at 44. Here's Robert Horry. We were talking about Robert Horry and his contributions to this team, Bill. And at times, and he has been up and down, there are times that he disappears. But the mistake people make have, in the past, they judge him solely by the number of points he puts on the board, and he does so much more for the Rockets than that.
You can't judge any player on this Rocket team by statistics, because all they do is win. You look at the statistics for this Rocket team, and other than Hakeem, there's nothing real special.
It's a backcourt violation.
Kenny Smith and Rudy Tomjanovich want the ball to be off the Sonics on that double team of the point guard. Rockets ball movement, not enough of it, and ineffective what has been there. 2-for-1 time, Seattle.
And Horry came over to double team Payton, Shrimp. Back outside, McMillan, and now down low and picked off and out of bounds off the Rockets. 7 on the shot clock.
Hakeem, this is such a tough matchup. Another reason why Houston doesn't play well against Seattle. Hakeem has to guard guys at the three-point line.
Payton for 3. And the battle for the ball goes to Seattle. And a 20-second timeout now called by George Karl.
The Houston fans are going to be sitting at home saying, hey, everything's fine, tie score, Hakeem hasn't done anything, he's going to get it going. Seattle has taken Hakeem out of the game. Hakeem has got to make adjustments to get himself involved. He needs more touches, he needs more offensive opportunities.
We remind you, it's survive and advance time for some tomorrow. NBA playoffs continue. Triple header time starting at noon Eastern with NBA Showtime. Then it's do or die as NBC presents the final game of the opening round series between Steve Smith's Hawks and Rick Smith's Pacers. Game 2 will be in Utah for the final game between Arvydas Sabonis and the Portland Trailblazers. Utah Jazz featuring the mailman, Karl Malone. Then in prime time, the Knicks and Bulls renew their heated playoff rivalry in Game 1 of the Eastern Conference semifinals. Michael and Patrick square off in Chicago. An NBA playoff triple-dip tomorrow here on NBC.
Sabonis, such a special player. Don't forget, though, that point guard matchup, Strickland and Stockton.
Last 10 seconds of the first half. Hawkins for 3, off the mark. With 3 seconds, Payton. And that'll do it for a first half in which both teams got their licks in. Some hot shooting, others to be heard from, we'll see. Robert Horry, 15 points for the Rockets in the first half. Gary Payton, 19 for the Seattle Supersonics. And we are tied at 44. We'll be back for the second half right after we check in with New York. The Prudential halftime report coming your way right after this.
Does not feel as if his guys are moving the ball well. He wants them to have an extra pass here and there, and he thinks that it'll help them offensively. Greg?
All right, Hannah, it is not insignificant. We're talking about Hakeem Olajuwon with just 4 points, because in Olajuwon, we're looking at the number 3 all-time scorer in NBA postseason. Michael Jordan leads the way, followed by Jerry West, and then Hakeem Olajuwon with a scoring average of 28.2 in the postseason.
But you can't score unless you shoot, and Hakeem has let the defense take him out of this game.
Irvin Johnson. Irvin Johnson averaging just 2.5 points a game in the postseason. His first 2 of the day, 46-44 Sonics. That's out of bounds, and it belongs to the Rockets. George Karl questions the call, as does Gary Payton.
Rockets have to be very careful here, playing on the road with the fatigue. Have to keep it close, try to get control.
And that'll be an illegal defense call against the Sonics. That's the first of the day. You can see the Sonics just collapse every time the ball goes inside to Olajuwon.
Good backdoor cut by Drexler.
Olajuwon, Shrimp comes over to help. And now back to Olajuwon. Looks for room on the baseline, can't get it through, picked off by Johnson.
Hakeem is playing so close to the basket. He didn't have any good passing angles. He moved away 10 to 15 feet away from the hoop. They wouldn't be able to double team him without really giving up the basket area.
Kemp. Sonics by 4.
2 possessions, take it inside, draw the defense, draw the collapsing defense. They kick it up to big guys who can shoot from the perimeter.
Tapped out by Drexler.
But see the way Seattle can rotate back so quickly. They are so well conditioned, so well drilled by George Karl.
Nice. Drexler all alone down low, and a 3-second violation.
The collapsing defense by the Rockets, unable to do what the Sonics have done, and that's get back to those spot-up shooters.
Irvin Johnson.
The Rockets'
6-point lead for the Sonics.
The Rockets just not moving well, though Rudy T has done a good job of putting Clyde Drexler on Gary Payton, trying to slow him down. The Rockets' problems, though, Rockets can't score right now.
Horry for 3. Way short. And the Rockets say that Detlef Schrempf touched the basketball before it went out of bounds. Terry Durham says no. And now the Sonics look like they've kicked it into a higher gear. That one thrown away, though, and saved by Kemp, and now it's a backcourt violation.
Rudy Tomjanovich wants a timeout, but you see the hustle by Clyde Drexler forcing this turnover here. The ball bouncing on the floor in the backcourt. Clyde Drexler and Hakeem Olajuwon showed that extra effort in the Laker closer, trying to get their team off the dive. They have not scored in this quarter.
It does the same thing to us when we play them, you know, and we like it. And I think we give different looks to Hakeem. You know, we just give Hakeem a lot of different packages, and we don't let him play by himself very often. He's not going to play I'm not going to take the Lakers series. I'll tell you my strategy right now. We will be double teaming you, Hakeem, I promise you.
And they have done that all afternoon.
With terrific success.
And now they've switched a ruling where the Rockets had the ball coming in from inbounds, and now the Sonics get it.
The Rockets are not doing themselves any favors. They're arguing constantly, which just antagonizes the refs.
You can see the expression on Hakeem's face.
But Hakeem is in a rhythm now where he doesn't think he's going to shoot. You can't allow yourself to be taken out.
Chucky Brown rebounds the Detlef Schrempf miss. The Sonics have scored 11 of the last 13 points. Olajuwon fights his way through. Still won't go down. And Irvin Johnson decks Terry Durham on the baseline as he goes for the ball. Loose ball foul is called on Irvin Johnson.
When Hakeem forces this way, that's going to allow the guys as his forwards to get to the offensive glass. You have to put pressure. And there is nothing that should be able to keep Hakeem Olajuwon or any great player from taking 20 shots every game. He's starting to get more physical now. Nobody in foul trouble for Houston. Shawn Kemp's got 2.
The lob for Olajuwon from Robert Horry. Kemp. And the whistle blows underneath, and the foul is on Clyde Drexler.
The back cut, they've been jamming him for every possession, for every reception. So Hakeem just walks Irvin Johnson up the lane. There was some eye contact, the pass over the top. The skill again of Horry, being able to feed Hakeem, that center background that Robert Horry has, knowing exactly where to put that ball.
Kemp hits the first. Hakeem averaged almost 27 points a game on the season. As you look at Shawn Kemp's scoring average, 19.6 this season.
You look at that constant improvement. Remember, Shawn Kemp was one of those players that never played college basketball. If he'd gone to college, this would be his 4th year in the NBA, which is about when guys really start taking over.
Drexler.
Indecision by Houston, the way that Seattle is running at the guys on the line.
Hawkins. And now Shrimp on the baseline. Good look at the basket for Detlef Shrimp, and the Sonics have opened up a 54-46 lead.
Houston's trying to play Seattle's game. They're trying to play the scramble game. They don't have to. They're the defending champions. They got to play with poise on defense.
Drexler out of the corner. So Olajuwon is getting no field goal attempts, and the Rockets have gone cold from outside. Detlef Shrimp works his way inside. Kenny Smith on the run. And blocked by Kemp. Kenny Smith wants the goaltend, didn't get it, but Horry hits a 3.
What is Kenny Smith doing? It was a terrific block. It might have been goaltending, but this game is in the balance here.
Percy Hawkins came up short, and Brown has the rebound.
Every player who's got the experience that Smith has knows in the 3rd quarter of these games, they're not going to blow that whistle unless it's very clear.
Olajuwon spins twice. Johnson got a hand on it. Payton. Oh, Gary Payton down the lane. 21 for Payton.
And all the Rockets are doing is complaining to the officials.
Fans are on their feet. And steal by Hawkins. And the lead is taken away by Horry. Back down to Olajuwon. And Drexler scores.
As bad as the Rockets are playing, they're just down 5, and everything is happening for Seattle right now. Their fast break, their transition game. Payton has been magnificent.
Irving. 58-51, Seattle by 7. And timeout on the floor. This is a 20-second timeout with 5:40 to play, and we'll take a moment to remind you, following NBA playoff.
But this year will be tougher than it's ever been.
Sam Cassell back into the game for Houston. And Drexler has now moved into the low post. And a whistle blows. There's an illegal defense on the Sonics, and that'll be a free throw for Houston.
Finally, Hakeem handles the ball at the 15-foot area. When you move away from the basket, they can't double team you. But the way Seattle is playing with more energy, more electricity, quicker to the ball.
Nice seat, George.
In the past, George would be up and down, ranting and raving, drawing attention to himself. But he realized now that, hey, players make plays. It's not about the plays, making players. It's not about strategy. It's about getting the ball to your guys and letting them operate.
That's off of Sam Cassell, and Cassell arguing, and Cassell is very upset following Terry Durham.
And they called a delay of game. Now you've got both Rocket backcourt guys, Kenny Smith and Cassell, out of their rhythm. And again, nobody able to slow down Gary Payton.
Payton wants to post up Cassell down low. Shrimp. Top of the key, Hershey Hawkins. Too hard. And a loose ball foul goes against the Rockets. This is on Hakeem. And it's number 2 on Olajuwon.
That Good pressure on the ball. They're trying to post up Gary Payton right in Sam Cassell's face. Is obviously off of Cassell. And when you argue obvious calls, it just turns the referees against you because you lose all your credibility.
Second personal on Hakeem. 58-52. We're under 5 minutes to play. Payton. And back comes Drexler, and Hakeem running the floor with him. Back outside to Chucky Brown. And now Cassell. Down low, taken away by Payton. Stripped from behind by Cassell, and the foul in the backcourt by Urban Johnson. The Seattle Sonics led the NBA in steals for the 4th straight year with almost 11 a game.
And Gary Payton led the NBA as an individual with steals, and Hersey Hawkins was in the top 20 in that as well. But the Rockets are not making the Sonics pay for their style, their gambling style. They're not getting beat with the quick passing, and the shooting for Houston is horrendous.
And Horry with another miss.
Nice block out, Hersey Hawkins on Hakeem.
Olajuwon putting up the front. Johnson follows. 60-52, 8-point lead for the Sonics. And we get a whistle down low, and illegal defense call again on Seattle.
Sean Kemp along the baseline. Horry goes for the steal. That allows Kemp to go strong. But when he double clutches, Hakeem just standing there. He just goes strong rather than trying to double clutch this shot. I think that ball goes in. We see that with Charles Barkley all the time. The difference with Charles when he just attacks versus when he double clutches. An incredible difference.
Cassell hits another technical. 60-53. And it's Houston basketball. Houston has hit 6 of 19 in the three-point area. Seattle 6 of 20. Horry for Olajuwon out of the corner, and that's short. Picked off by Horry, tried to feed Hakeem, and it was taken away. Payton tried to track it down, and it goes back to Houston. And things getting a little ragged here in the third.
Maybe it's the fatigue. Maybe it's that long plane ride, that stop in Salt Lake City for more gas. Maybe it's the fact that they just played Thursday night and the tough turnaround. But Houston, as the world champions, they've got to move above all that. They know winning on the road is the most difficult thing. It's also the most rewarding thing. Right now, they are not playing like the world champions that they've been.
And the foul goes against the Sonics. And this Houston team knows all about winning on the road in the postseason. They have won 8 of their last 9 on the road in playoff competition.
No franchise has won more games. 10 out of their last 14 overall playoff games won on the road. But no franchise other than the Los Angeles Lakers and the Boston Celtics have won more road games than the Houston Rockets. But the Rockets, who started this game beautifully, I just don't think playing with that sense of urgency, playing with that edge that they need to.
Nate McMillan replaces Hersey Hawkins for the Sonics.
Very few free throw attempts. Referees are not going to blow that whistle in the second half of a playoff game.
Cassell with 11. The Sonics lead by 5.
Now Drexler on Payton.
Kemp trying to dribble, had it taken away.
Terrific defense, Hakeem. Now you've got McMillan and Payton on.
Drexler. And the Sonics come back. Kemp down the lane and an offensive foul. And that's number 3 on Sean Kemp. And that also stops play with 2:49 remaining in the third. The Sonics 60, the Rockets 55. This is the NBA on NBC.
But insisted that he stay in the game, Greg.
All right, Hannah. Hakeem outside. Cassell way off the mark. And the save attempt doesn't work. Gary Payton comes back 1-on-4 for the Sonics. McMillan for three.
Sonics are sharper, more well-rested, playing with more confidence. Three-pointers very close. A lot of attempts, but that's because of the collapsing defense. Sam Cassell's got to find an offensive rhythm, and that's tough against these Sonic guards.
Drexler. And the magic touch that the Rockets opened with just isn't there on the run. Sam Perkins running the floor. The Sonics with their biggest lead of the day. 10-point lead, a minute 45 to play.
Greg, the reason it's not there is because Hakeem has not delivered offensively.
Another steal by the Sonics. Kemp. And he'll go to the line.
The Sonics just starting to blow out and outrun the fatigued Houston Rockets.
Foul number 2 on Chucky Brown.
The Sonics taking advantage with their superior size and strength. The Rockets need another timeout.
15 for Sean Kemp, and the fans are on their feet here at Key Arena. A minute 32 to play in the third, and the Sonics have blown it open. They lead by 13. Last three-point attempt he made.
But he hasn't taken himself out. And that's another big problem for Rudy Tomjanovich, because the players don't acknowledge their injuries. He doesn't know what to do with them. See how Seattle can close out so well.
Shot clock down to 4. Ellie casts off. And way off. Drexler with the save all the way back out to Cassell. And Ellie for 2 this time and hit it. Nice save by Drexler. 68-57. Final minute of play here in the third.
Ellie's playing with a lot of pain in that right wrist himself. He badly broke that right arm. He missed the most games of anybody, 3 months.
Cross court to Askew. Drexler got a hand on it. Perkins.
That's the matchup problem for Hakeem. He's got to guard a guy who shoots three-pointers. He does definitely not like to play that kind of game.
And Drexler hits off the baseline. 71-59. Last 20 seconds of the third quarter. And Payton finds his way to the basket. 73-59. Last seconds. And Drexler, that does not count. It does not count. Terry Durham waved it off, said he didn't get it off in time. And the Rockets' problems continue. Take a look and watch the clock.
Drexler has the ball. Clearly the clock goes off. We heard the horn. The light is off. Correct call by the officials.
At the end of 3, the Sonics 73, the Rockets 59. Hakeem Olajuwon and Houston continues to struggle. And we'll be back in the fourth, 73-59, Seattle.
And the Rockets' field goal percentage plummeting, 25% for the third quarter. No offense and wonderful defense for Seattle.
Hakeem Olajuwon, 6 points as we start the fourth. Perkins for 3. Points for Sam Perkins.
Centers that can shoot three-pointers give Hakeem a lot of trouble. Hannah was just in the Seattle huddle over there, and George Karl said, look, milk Sam, he's got the hot hand.
Payton for three. And Shrimp picks off the rebound. And Shrimp, tied up by Sam Mack, called the timeout.
Rockets aren't even moving for the ball right now. They're standing flat-footed. They left their game today in Houston.
11:02 remaining in regulation, and the Rockets need a turnaround in a big way if they're going to come out of game one with a win. Today's Miller Moment features a Rockets misfire. The last time the Rockets lost the playoff series at the hands of the Sonics. Game 7, 93 playoffs. Trailing by 3 in overtime, the Rockets miss on last-second shots by Vernon Maxwell there, and then by Hakeem Olajuwon as the Sonics held on to take Game 7 and the series. And in recognition of that moment, Miller Brewing Company will donate $1,000 to the Thurgood Marshall Scholarship Fund. There is a frustrated Hakeem Olajuwon, who is just 3 of 9 from the floor today, hasn't gone to the free throw line today.
In that series, in 93, the home team won every game. The 7th game decided in overtime. Very controversial possession call late in that game.
McMillan for 3. And the Sonics are just lighting it up from outside.
Things couldn't be going better for Seattle as they're playing their game to perfection. And Houston has not made the adjustments. Houston has not made the changes necessary. So difficult.
Tried to get it inside. Shot clock is at 5. Horry, that's off the mark.
Not even close.
With the rebound.
It is so difficult when there's no real center for Hakeem to play with.
And Detlef Schrempf makes it a 21-4 run for the Sonics over the last 6 minutes and 15 seconds. Elliott on the run, too hard. Payton. Oh, what a pass to Detlef Schrempf. Rudy Tomjanovich says, we got to take time. George Karl just tossed a towel back into the stands in jubilation. This is Detlef Schrempf on his way to the basket, and not nearly enough Houston defense. 9 minutes, 39 seconds to play in regulation, and the Sonics with things all their own way. 83-59, you're watching the NBA on NBC. Up in arms and celebrity cameraman time. The hat should be a dead giveaway. That's John Popper, the lead man for Blues Traveler. Hey, John, thanks for joining us.
Good to be here.
Pleased about the way the game is going, as well he should. What a great rendition of the national anthem John gave us today. All right, John, everybody should own Blues Traveler music. Let's check in with Hannah Storm. Hannah.
Well, listening in on the huddle, Greg, George Karl is sensing, as we talked about at the beginning of the day, that the Rockets are just flat out tired. He told his team they cannot keep up with our tempo and told Gary Payton to keep pushing it up. Greg?
All right, Hannah, the Sonics have just forced another turnover, and Sam Cassell arguing to no avail.
Rudy Tomjanovich has taken Hakeem Olajuwon out of this game. And you have to think at this point he's trying to cut his losses. But what's happened here is that the Rockets have allowed Seattle to get into their game, into their rhythm. Their fans are just loving this. Everything is happening perfectly. The confidence and the poise that Seattle is going to develop in this game is going to be very difficult for the Rockets to take away on Monday night, the next game.
Well, Hakeem Olajuwon is an ultimate big game performer, and he's on the bench with 6 points and 4 rebounds in this opening game. And that's saved by Chucky Brown. Shot clock is at 4. Sam Mack hits a 3.
But Hakeem has got to... The most difficult thing, Greg, is for a player like Hakeem to go against a team that doesn't have a center, and he's got Payton and Kemp to worry about, skilled guys that play the perimeter.
Perkins on the inside. You would think the opposite would be true. Without a dominant center, you would think Hakeem Olajuwon would just rule on the inside, but the double teaming has taken all of that away.
What happens, Greg, is the mentality of the players. Seattle gets super psyched up knowing they got to play their game of their lives to come out and compete against Hakeem, while the Rockets come out and relax. The Rockets come out and say, well, Hakeem will take care of business. He's going to kill these guys. They got nobody in there.
And Cassell just having all kinds of problems shooting.
So not only does Hakeem have to handle his guys, Perkins, Kemp, and Irvin Johnson, and Brickowski, but he's got to create a competitive situation between Payton and Kemp and himself.
Sam Cassell goes to the bench. 11 points, 3 of 12 shooting from the floor. Eldridge Rakasner on the floor for the first time today, as is Pete Chilcutt.
It's the same problem that Shaquille O'Neal faces when he plays the Chicago Bulls.
Gary Payton. Boy, George Karl couldn't script this opener any better if he had written it down on paper.
Gary Payton, who's averaged 29 points and 9 assists all season long against the Houston Rockets, a Rocket team that only was on the floor as a starting unit 7 minutes all season long against the Seattle team. Gary
Payton to the line. He has 26 points this afternoon. 7.5 to play. 88-62 Sonics. And the foul call down low on Payton.
Today we're seeing the Seattle Supersonics that they have maintained, they have been for the last 3 years. They just didn't get the chance since '93 to play against Houston. The tough first round knockouts by Denver and by Los Angeles last year.
Mario Elie hits the first. 88-63. Seattle by 25. This was a 44-44 game at halftime.
19 points in the second half for Houston will not get it done. That wouldn't get it done down in Houston. Sam's icing that elbow, that right elbow, shooting elbow.
Kemp. Back outside, Hersey Hawkins, and whistle blows, and a travel.
A game like this gives Seattle so much confidence. And George Karl talked about wanting to play against Houston. Sonics to a man think they can beat the Rockets.
We know the kind of big game performances the Rockets are capable of. We saw a very quiet determination when we talked with the Sonics yesterday.
Well, this is a very proud team. Guys like Gary Payton and Sean Kemp have grown up, and believe me, it's embarrassing when you lose in that first round. When you mop up in the regular season, everybody starts talking bad about you, your own fans questioning you.
Mario Elie casts off again. 88-66. You can't leave Sean Kemp alone. This is Chilcutt. Goes to the left hand and tap no good. Rebounded by Hawkins.
Everything is falling apart for the Houston Rockets. And if they're to make a run, not in this game, but in this playoff series, this will be the toughest run they've had of the three.
Payton scooped on the line and will go the other way as Charles Jones, the 13-year veteran out of Albany State, comes off the Houston bench to replace Mario Elie.
The two teams that give the Rockets the biggest trouble in the Western Conference are the Lakers and the Seattle Sonics, the two teams that they have to play in the first 2 rounds. That's what makes this year more difficult than last year. They still have to do it on the road. The emotional win over the Lakers, where they crushed the Lakers' spirit, had them bickering, had them showing signs of dissension and selfishness in Los Angeles.
Ellie remains in the game, and Chucky Brown takes a seat, but results don't change much. Percy Hawkins down the lane against no defensive pressure at all. 92-66.
And again, Seattle has not let up one iota in defensive intensity.
Mario Ellie is cleaning up from the three-point line.
The question for Houston is whether they're going to be able to make the necessary adjustments.
Well, you know this from Rudy Tomjanovich. There will be no yelling and screaming. A veteran team and a veteran coach that simply knows what kind of business has to be done and goes about doing it. Meanwhile, Gary Payton now up to 28 points.
The excuses are there.
Kemp got a piece of that one. Askew.
The excuses are there for the Houston Rockets. They can say, hey, the plane trip, the close game, this is really a morning game after a tough Laker game on Thursday night. This is more than just fatigue, though, by the Houston Rockets.
And Gary Payton exits to a rousing ovation. "28 points, 7 assists for Gary Payton. 6 points for Hakeem Olajuwon.
The fans here in the Northwest, both in Seattle and in Portland, as rabid and as supportive of any fans in the NBA. You do not want to have to get these fans back in their seats. That's very difficult to do.
Shawn Kemp, 17 points and 12 rebounds. And look at the Sonics on the run. Sam Mack with the heavy foul on Hersey Hawkins.
Sonics just racing out. I mean, every play now is transition. Talking to the Rockets before the game, they said transition D was the key. Well, if that's the fact that they have done nothing to address the key issue for the Sonics. And you look at Hawkins at the line here, Frank Brickowski on the bench, and Hakeem Olajuwon so frustrated, embarrassed today, just 6 points, which obviously will rank right up there with one of his poorest all-time playoff performances. But give the Sonic management the credit to address their problems and bring in quality guys, get good team chemistry. Brickowski and Hawkins made a huge difference here in Seattle.
Timeout with 4:02 to play here in the fourth quarter. The Sonics well on their way to an opening game win in this best-of-7 series. On the floor today, let's go to Hannah Storm. Hannah.
Well, Cassell stayed in the game for 24 minutes despite the assistant coaches begging him to come out. I just talked to the team doctor. He has definitely aggravated that right elbow that he had surgery on less than 8 weeks ago. He's not sure how he did it, but he said someone hit him during the game. It is bothering him considerably, Greg, and he doesn't have a lot of recovery time before game 2.
All right, Hannah, thanks. The Sonics on the run again, and a nice block by Mario Ellie.
You have to look at what the Sonics have done this year, Greg. They've said that they had 64 wins, the 10th best mark of all time. They set a franchise record of 38 home wins, just 3 losses. They tied the franchise record for most road victories at 26.
Askew. It is a 100-69 lead, a 31-point edge for the Sonics, and the Rockets' worst playoff loss ever was a 29-pointer to Boston back in 1981. Rick Kasner and Eric Snow with the rebound. 3 minutes to play. And some guys on the floor who never dreamed they'd see playoff time. Wingate the miss, the rebound off, and a foul is called on Steve Scheffler. Remind you again, tomorrow, NBA playoffs continue. Triple header begins at noon Eastern with NBA Showtime. Then, the final game of the opening round series between the Atlanta Hawks and Steve Smith, the Indiana Pacers and Rick Smits. Game 2, we head to Utah. Bill Hanna and I will be there for the final game between the Blazers and the Utah Jazz. Arvydas Sabonis for Portland, Karl Malone for Utah. And then in prime time, the Knicks and Bulls renew their rivalry. Game 1 of the Eastern Conference semis. Michael and Patrick square off. NBA playoff triple-dip tomorrow here on NBC.
One of the real problems for Houston is that they have allowed, with this runaway victory for the Sonics, they have allowed the Sonics to get their rhythm. Not only the team, but the fans. Now for the next 36 hours before Monday night's game here in Seattle, everybody's going to be pushing, everybody's going to be sky high, and the Sonics will be walking around with their chests all pumped out, and somehow the Rockets, if they're going to get back and try to make this series competitive, they've got to find a way to get this crowd back in their seats.
102-69 and another takeaway. Irvin Johnson. 2 straight stuffs for Irvin Johnson. He has 10 points. He averaged 2.5 against Sacramento. Rick Kasner. Scheffler.
When you look at adjustments that the Sonics could make for game 2, the Rockets could make. Obviously, get Hakeem more shots. He's going to have to step away from the basket a little bit. More straight-up defense. More Clyde Drexler on Gary Payton. No double teams. And obviously, a lot quicker, a lot hungrier. And as we said at the open, play with a sense of urgency.
Eric Snow out of the corner doesn't hit Chilcutt with the rebound.
So often the Rockets are able to rely on the luxury of having Hakeem Olajuwon, who will just bail them out at the end. That opportunity won't be there at the end, and that's the whole team comes to play start to finish.
Traveling violation. The all-time low point total for the Houston Rockets in a playoff game was against Boston in those 81 finals with 71.
Rockets 5-15 in their series where they lose the first game. The last time they won a series where they lost the first game was last year. They lost the first 2 games at Phoenix in these same Western Conference Finals, then came back to win 4 of 5. But again, Barkley was injured down the stretch in that game. And Phoenix certainly doesn't present the defensive problem of the
Jones missed the slam. Boy, when things go south on you, they go south. Last 40 seconds. Irvin Johnson having a career day here. Irvin Johnson has 12 points. And the basket and the foul. Sam Mack will go to the line. The foul is on Johnson.
The Rockets didn't have any trouble slowing down the other Irvin Johnson. This Irvin Johnson comes out and lights him up. Doubles up Hakeem's numbers. Go figure.
Final 15 seconds. And Sam Mack gets what appears to be the final basket of this game unless Eric Snow makes something happen here. The layup by David Wingate. The Seattle Sonics playing like a team on a mission. The final score, Seattle 108 and Houston 75. And in this best-of-7 series, the Sonics get a leg up. Carl, a very happy man. Two guys who lead the way, as they have done all season long for the Sonics, are with Hannah Storm. Hannah.
Okay, we're going to start with Gary Payton, another tremendous game against the Rockets. How are you so effective against this team?
Well, I think that we do a lot of schemes, we do a lot of trapping, and I think we're very aggressive, and we always go at them and try to cause problems. So we're very effective that way.
How important was it for you to keep pushing the tempo up?
It's very important for us to keep pushing the tempo because we don't want to keep him to be in the defense. As long as we keep him down the floor and he won't disrupt a lot of the offense, I think we'll get great shots.
Did you sense that they were tired, not to take away from your win in any sense, but were they fatigued?
Well, I didn't sense it until the third quarter when we started running a lot and we made a big run. When we made a big run, I knew they were tired, and we had to just keep pushing it, and we made a couple of baskets, and we hurt them, and we went up by double digits, and I knew then that we was going to break it open.
Okay, let's continue and talk about the great defensive effort, Sean Kemp, on Hakeem Olajuwon. How did you guys manage to hold him to 6 points? What was the key?
A lot of quick double teams, just being active defensively with our hands, putting pressure on the point guard when they make the pass, and just team effort. I think it was total team effort.
Sean, what was your attitude coming into this game? I know you guys were really relieved to get past the first round. Was that looseness? Did that help contribute to your play today?
I think so. I think we came in with a loose attitude. We wanted to be aggressive offensively and defensively. And I think we did that. I think Gary pushed the ball early and made their guards work extremely hard. And I got a lot of rebounds early, which got us off to the run. And I think we play better when we play faster, and that's what we did early today.
You haven't been to the second round of the playoffs in a while. To win the first game of this Western Conference semifinal and do it so decisively, what does that do for the confidence of your team?
Well, it gives a big confidence booster. You know, it's going to be tough for us because they are the champs, and I know they're going to come back in here Monday with an aggressive attitude, and they're not going to back down from us. So our work has just started. Even though it's still good right now, we got to go extra work tomorrow, and then Monday we got the real test.
Does it work in your favor, the quick turnaround, to have the game Monday with the momentum in your favor?
Well, I think so. I think since we're playing at home, I think so. I think anytime that you can play back-to-back quickly at home, it advantages the home team.
Pretty fun being in the second round, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. Anything's better than being on vacation right now.
Okay, Sean. We'll see you Monday. Back to you, Greg.
All right, Hannah, thank you. The vacation time this time of year is something the Sonics are used to. They didn't shoot over 46% in any game in Sacramento, 52% today, Bill.
Great. George Karl was talking about exercising the demons. They have certainly done that, and the Houston Rockets didn't do anything to make Seattle earn this victory today. Too easy, too soft. They've got to come back.
108-75. The Sonics lead it 1 game to none. Bob Costas, Julius Irving, Peter Vesey, and NBA Showtime coming up right after this.